Hello, this is Kaki Lee, and welcome to the Abundant Goddess Show, where I'll be sharing daily, bite sized pearls of wisdom I've picked up along my life journey that has allowed me to embrace and unleash my inner abundant goddess. And that's exactly what I want for you, to embrace and unleash your inner abundant goddess. I love talking about anything and everything to do with life, but I especially love talking about money, mindset, and energy, which is the main focus here. If you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe to my show so you don't miss out on your daily dose of wisdom from myself. And also follow me and let me know what you think on Facebook and Instagram at Abundance with Kaki Lee. Now let's get into it. Welcome to the Abundant Goddess Show. Today's pearl of wisdom is take responsibility. I want to ask you a question right now. Are you happy? And are you living the life of your dreams right now? If not, are you taking action towards creating a happier life that you desire? And if you're not taking action, what is stopping you from taking responsibility of your life and of your happiness? What I've found, especially in the last little while, I've had a few conversations around taking responsibility. And it occurred to me that people don't like taking responsibility for themselves. They want to blame everyone else, put the blame on everyone else except for them. Something's not working in their life, it's so and so's fault. Something's not working, they're not allowed to do something, it's this person's fault, or the government's fault, or my boss's fault. It's always someone else's fault because they're not willing to take responsibility for their life. And the thing is, I want to remind you is your happiness is created by you. Your life is created by you, how you live your life, how you want your life to look like. And right now, maybe is not looking the way that you want it to, but if you're not taking any actions towards where you want it to look like, then chances are it's not going to happen. And the only way that it will happen is if you take responsibility. And when you don't take responsibility for little things, big things, and even bigger things, then you're not going to be taking responsibility for anything. And if you're one of those people that like to whinge and moan and groan and grumble about how their life doesn't work, that nothing's working for them, I want you to take a good, hard, honest look at what you're doing or not doing. Because chances are you're not doing anything apart from moaning and groaning and whinging. Yes, it might be a hard pill to swallow, and you're probably going, I don't want to listen to Kaki right now. She's being a bitch. And that's fine. But no one knows about this except for you. No one knows the truth except for you. I want to give you a few examples of taking responsibility in my life because before I started doing all my inner work, my spiritual journey, my personal development journey, I always say this, but it is so true. Once you start, you have that self awareness and you can see all the things that you've done in the past and what you're doing right now. I am so self aware nowadays. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I just wish I wasn't. But, I mean, I wouldn't change anything in the world. When I used to work in corporate, so I used to work in the hospital, and I know other people that work in hospitals. And I also know other people that work in lots of different corporations. What stood out for me the most was that people don't take responsibility. No one wanted to take responsibility at work. And it always baffled me because I was the person that wanted to take responsibility for everything. Everything except for me. Everything except for me, because I used to be a chronic people pleaser. So I would take responsibility for your happiness. I would take responsibility for your processes. I would take responsibility for your systems and making it work. But when it came to my happiness and what I wanted, I never took responsibility. But it always baffled me why other people didn't take responsibility. And it used to shit me to tears. It really did. And people used to complain and, whinge about this person or that person or the boss or systems not working, but they don't do anything to make it better or to make themselves happier. Even if you hated your life right now, it is still your responsibility to make yourself feel happier, right? Even if your boss is a complete tool, take responsibility on how you react to your boss, because your boss ain't going to care how you feel. The only person that can make you feel happy is yourself. You can either keep working where you are and find a way to be happy working where you are, or you can, go, screw this, I'm leaving. But either way, you're taking responsibility. You're making a decision for yourself on how to handle the situation and how you react and the actions. And the other thing that used to always baffle me is people not only don't take responsibility, they also were very quick to throw people under the bus. And I hated that. It really made me sad. It made me cringe. It made me just disappointed in the system. But taking responsibility is so important. I know people still in the system that don't like their job, that whinge and moan, and they don't feel that they can go anywhere else or do anything else. And that makes me sad because they can't see the potential that they have in them. So they don't take responsibility because they don't feel like they can. Because it's more comfortable to be uncomfortable. Because what if they took responsibility and it was worse than where they are now? The fear of the unknown always takes people out. But I can tell you the fear of the unknown is way better than staying in a situation where you are not happy. And I'll give you a funny example of taking responsibility. Something trivial, because it's not just the big things like your career or your relationships or your health. Taking responsibility for your health, that's a major one. But also just little things. So I think this is a funny story, but you can let me know. So I remember this incident really clearly, and it's I used to do hot Pilates. I've mentioned it before. I used to do hot Pilates, and I go in the morning, and I don't like to eat before I go because, one, exercising on a full stomach doesn't feel great, and two, the heat makes it even worse. And I remember that morning, my husband was cooking breakfast for the girls, and then he was like, "Oh, have a sausage before you go," because he was cooking sausages, and I'm like, "Oh, it smells so good." He's like, "Just have one." I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm not gonna have one because I don't like eating before I go exercising." And he was just, he's always worried about me not eating because I do get hangry. Well, I'm like, "No, I don't want to eat. I'm gonna get sick." And of course, he finished cooking them before I left the house. And he's like, "Come on, just have one. You know you want it." And then I'm like, "I am hungry." So I ate a little bit. It wasn't even like a full sausage. I probably had two pieces or something, like two tiny cut up pieces. And then I went to hot Pilates. And for the whole time I was in class, for the 45 minutes, I felt like throwing up. I was so nauseated. I come home. What do? I don't take responsibility for my actions. I blame my husband. But saying that, I remember very clearly going, "You made me eat that sausage." And I'm like, "I know that is my decision and I should take responsibility, but it feels better to blame you because if you didn't ask me, I wouldn't have eaten it." Da, 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 da. And there's something so trivial as, my husband telling me to eat something, and I went and did it, but I still wanted to blame someone. So imagine the bigger things in your life, the bigger decisions. How much more do you want to blame someone else when things don't work? Right? But at the end of the day, who makes the decisions? You do. You make the decisions. So you need to take responsibility of the outcome of what happens. And it's okay. It's okay. You're a better person for taking responsibility than hiding if something goes wrong. And I just wanted to give you those examples from like your career and your workplace, which you spend more time with the people and the surroundings than you do with your family, to something that, eating a sausage. Something so trivial where we just don't want to take responsibility. But at every single moment, every single decision, you are the person that made the decision. So you are the person that needs to take responsibility for it. And as hard as it is sometimes to take responsibility for what you've done or how you feel, I swear to you, you will feel better when you start taking responsibility for yourself, because you will understand that every single decision that you make leads you to be more happy or less happy. That leads you to taking you closer to the life that you desire or taking you further away. And it doesn't matter if you make the wrong decision. If you make the wrong decision, take responsibility and change it so that you go back on the right path. But the first thing is that you realize that you're not taking responsibility, and you know now that you need to start taking responsibility, because the power is in your hands. You can create your own happiness. You can create the life that you desire if you start taking responsibility. And that's the end of the show. Please share this episode with anyone that needs a reminder to take responsibility. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe to my show, and remember to follow me over at Facebook or Instagram at Abundance with Kaki Lee to connect with me and let me know what you think of the episode, especially my sausage story. If you're interested in working with me or learning from me or being part of my multi-author book, The Awakened Feminine, Stories of Women Awakening to Who They Truly Are, send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram, or email me at hello@kakilee.com.